This conference will now be recorded.
Right, let's start. Yeah, so yesterday we have seen this example, how to design the database fields. So in continuation to this example, let us see how to associate the custom F4L and custom F1L. Okay, so let me open that program. I'll go to Object Navigator, SC80. From the drop down, I'll choose what? Program. What is the program name? Z830 mod 3. Okay, so I'll do the changes in the same program. So to summarize this program, what you have done yesterday, I created one normal screen, right? After creating the normal screen, I have designed the layout for the screen with the database fields. I took the fields from what? Mara table, material number, material type, and material group, and 4 push buttons. And we understood that by default, the names of the fields are proposed as what? Table name hyphen field name, table name hyphen field name. So in your program, when you are referring to that screen fields, if I declare the variables which containing hyphen as in between the variable name, it is leading to warning and it is not capturing the data. So what we did, we have used the tables keyword, tables Mara. Okay, your tables Mara. So what I'll do is, so I told that using this tables keyword is a performance issue. No? Unnecessarily a work area is getting what? Created. Unnecessarily a work area is getting created with all the fields of what? Mara. So I need to avoid this. So how to avoid this usage of tables keyword? I will change the screen field name. So the change I'll do is, or else I'll just copy, shall I copy the program and do it? Yeah, I'll do one thing. I'll copy this program and then I'll do the changes. So right click on the program. Also what? Copy. Right. What is the target program? Z830 mod 4. 3 I'm copying it to 4. Okay. Let me select all the checkboxes. My program 3 contains what? It contains some screens. It contains some GUI status. It contains some include programs. So let me copy everything. Continue. Yeah. My program contains a top include program. What is the name of the top include program in the source program? This one. When I'm copying it to the target, I'll change the name to Z830 mod 4 top. Z830 mod 4 top. Done. This is the new module pull program with the top include program. Continue. Let us save this. Yeah, the source program is copied to a target program. Now in the target program, I'll do the necessary changes. So this is my target program Z830 mod 4. You activate everything here. Okay, so I'll double click on the screen, right? Let me open this in change mode. I'll try to activate this. Yes, it is activated. I'll try to activate the top include program. Everything you have to active, right? Top include program is activated. I'll right click on the program, activate your program also. Program also is what activated. I need to create the T code. We'll see later on. So first what we have to do now, we have to avoid the usage of what? Mara tables keyword. Understood? We should avoid the usage of tables keyword because it decreases the performance. Unnecessarily a work area is getting created with what? All the fields. So the change I'll do is, I'll go to the screen layout. What are the names of the screen fields proposed by SAP? Table name hyphen field name. Okay. So I will change the names of these IO fields. How do I change? I'll double click on the first IO field. What is the name here? Mara hyphen MATNR. Na? So I'll change the name to ensure that hyphen is not there in the name. Okay, without hyphen, you can give anything whatever you want. Let me change the name to something V underscore MATNR. I can give underscore, but avoid what? Hyphen. So V underscore MATNR. Similar, this also I'll double click. I'll change the name to V underscore MTRT. This also I'll double click. I'll change the name to V underscore MATKL. So I'm ensuring that hyphen is remote and I gave what some underscore kind of thing. Done. Okay, let me save it. Now in the program, what I'll do? In the program, I'll declare the variables. So what I'll do now, instead of using data so and so yesterday, what you have done, here I'll give the names. What is that? Data V underscore MATNR type so and so. What is this? V underscore MTRT so and so. And what is this? V underscore MATKL so and so. Okay, what are the screen field names are there? I'm using the same name. I can avoid what? Tables keyword. I'm avoiding the tables keyword. Done. And wherever required, here also I'll say select into V underscore MTRT. What is this? V underscore MATKL, where MATNR equal to V underscore MATNR. That's all. Save it. Check for the syntax error. Clear. What is this? V underscore MATNR, V underscore material type, and this also is what? V underscore material group. No errors. Done. That's it. Okay. Activate everything. Activate your flow logic also. Create the T code for this. Right click on the program. Create what? Transaction. It takes a control to SC93. I'll give the T code name as something ZM4. Provide some description. T code for Z830 mod 4. What is the radio button? Program and screen. Yeah, the program name is Z830 mod 4. Screen number is 100. As usual, select all these check boxes. Done. Better activate the program once. So what we have done so far, I've designed the database fields. By default, it will propose the names as what? Table name hyphen field name. So I have changed the names to my user defined names like V underscore MATNR, V underscore MTRT, V underscore MATKL. I have done the corresponding declarations in the program also. Let's test it now. I'll give the material number, click on this. Yes, I got the data. Working fine now? Working fine. Right, so what we have done, we have avoided the usage of a tables keyword. How to avoid? Change the screen field names to user defined names, and in the program also declare the variables with the same name, so that a mapping will be established between your program variable and your screen fields. Yeah, any questions up to this stage? Any questions?
Sir,
Yes, I.
sir, I have one doubt on day before yesterday's requirement.
Yeah, tell me.
Like, uh, we have kept function type of cancel as eno, sir, so that we can exit forcefully. So in that
Apart from that,
requirement,
you have to implement that at
uh,
exit command module also.
sorry, in module,
Mm.
and we have two mandatory fields, function number
Correct.
and second number.
Correct.
So if my requirement is I have entered only first number and I didn't enter second number, then
Mhm.
if I click on clear push button, it has to clear that first number. Is it possible, sir?
It is clearing, I think. No, it will work. What is the
I
program?
tried.
Second program. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Let me check it. Activate. Okay, you want me to enter this value, right?
Yes.
Next, what you want?
Clear.
Acha. Okay, I think the problem here is you are performing some action, right? So action can be performed only when all the fields are successfully validated. Okay, So if I click on this, I think it is not clearing. I think you are getting an error. Fill in all the required entry fields, right? Yeah,
Yes,
obviously.
yes.
Okay, so that is a default behavior. Okay, clicking a button is an action. An action can be performed only when all the validations are successfully met. Here we are violating one of the validation. That's why preference is given to that one. So we cannot avoid that. We cannot avoid that. Compulsory the user has to enter both the values. Then only we can perform some action like exit or clear or whatever it is. Right, Sai?
Okay, sir. So,
Hmm.
can I do like this? Like if I put function type for clear as E and maintain method
Okay, you want to set the button type as function type as E. Next, what you'll do?
in PI module, another module
No,
handling
no,
that event.
no. There can be only one at exit command module. Na? In that at exit command module, already wrote the logic for cancel. Okay. Now again, you want to write the logic for clear in that at exit command module. Ah?
Yes,
That's what
sir.
you're saying.
Yes,
But
sir.
how
Yes, sir.
does
For
it?
exit.
Yeah, how does it matter? If you write that logic there, how does it matter? Hmm? It will give the same behavior. If you write the logic as a leave program, I can exit. But if you write some other logic, okay, it will not give preference to that. No, it doesn't work.
Yes, yes, sir. Yesterday I tried, sir, but I didn't get.
No, you'll not
That's
get it.
what doubt.
No.
Okay,
Compulsory,
sir.
all the fields has to be validated. Then only the user can perform the necessary actions. Without validating, the only thing you can do is you can do the forceful exit. That is achieved through what cancel button. Apart from exiting, I cannot perform any other action. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubts, others? Okay. Where we are now? Let me go back to the program. So what is the next requirement here? I need to associate custom. First, let me go for F1L, custom F1L for material number field. So if you observe here in this particular program, if I execute this program, execute direct processing, right? This is the material number field. Okay, I'll put the cursor on the material number. I'll press F1. When I press F1, what I am getting? Standard F1L, material number, alphanumeric key, uniquely identifying the material. So this is a standard F1L. Now what I want to suppress that standard F1L. I want to associate my custom F1L. If it is a selection screen, how do we associate the custom F1L? Anyone? If it is a selection screen, how do we associate the custom F1 elements? We have to handle a event called as at selection screen on help request for so and so field. At selection screen on help request for that particular field name, and you can write the necessary logic. Here also, what I'll do is in the flow logic section by default, how many events it is showing? 2 events, right? So under PI, I have to handle a event called as process on help request. Process on help request. By default in the flow logic, it will show only 2 events, PBO and what? PI. Right? So I have to handle another event called as POH, process on help request. You want for which field? Material number. Na? So field, what is the field name? V underscore MATNR module you give any name whatever you want. Okay, so I'll say module associate underscore f1l something, some module name. Am I clear? What is the syntax? Field name, module name. Understood? So if you want any field specific FRL, you have to do like this. Understood? If you want the FNL for other field also, field that particular field and give another module name. Write the logic in that module. Okay. So double click on this module. You can give any name here. Double click on this module and associate the uh, what help whatever you want. So if you see it, actually this is a module which belongs to POH, process and help request. But if I double click, it will show it as what PA module, because we wrote it under PA, na? That's why it will show like that. But it is actually the module related to POH only. POH should be always be defined after PI. Understood? POH should be defined after PA. Suppose I'll remove this. I'll try to put this statement before PI. Okay, save it. Check for the syntax. I got an error. Process after input must come before what? Process and help request. So the sequence is important here. Okay, so let me define it here only. Done. So I have to define that module. Double click on this module. PA module does not exist. Create the object. I'll choose what? Where you want to define that module in the top include program. Yes, continue. Yeah, here only I'll do it. Right. So what is my agenda here? I want to show some information dialog box kind of thing where I have to show some text. So for that, I'll call one function model. If you go to SC37, okay, we have some standard function models. One of the function model is pop up to inform. There's a function model called as pop up to inform. This is a standard function model. What is the description of this? Dialog box to display a message. So before calling any function model, what you have to do? We have to check the signature of the function model. If I go to import, there are 5 parameters. Out of 5 parameters, the first 3 are mandatory. Optional checkbox is not selected. Na? For the first 3 parameters, optional checkbox is not selected. So you must pass the value. What are the values? One is title, it seems. Text 1 and what? Text 2. They didn't give any data type. So it is understood as character. So out of 5 parameters, the first 3 are mandatory. Export anyhow is optional. If I go to that, anyhow, we don't any parameters, no changing, no tables, no exceptions. Okay, so let us try to call this particular function model pop up to inform. So somewhere here, I'll go to pattern. What is the function model pop up to inform? Then import becomes export. Title equal to, you give any title. I'll give the title as something custom what FNL. Some text. Okay, this I'll say something material number. Understood? I'm directly giving some text. Text 2 is also mandatory. So I'll just give some information like database table is what? Mara. Okay, and database field is what? MATR. Some text. Any of these two are optional, so I'll not pass it. That's it. Okay, so I'm calling the function model by passing the necessary parameters. The 3 parameters are mandated. That's all. Check for the syntax, activate this. It is activated. If I go back, yes, it is activated. Am I clear? So what is the event I'm handling? POH, process on help request. What is the syntax? Field name, module name. So if I execute this, let me activate the program, execute. Right, I'll put the cursor, I'll press F1. Good. What happened? The standard F1 is suppressed. I got the custom F1. I got the title what I give. I got the text whatever I give. So like this, we can associate what? Custom F1 for any of the field. If you want it for other field also, field name, module name. Inside that module, you write whatever logic you want. I called a function model to show some message in the information dialog box. Any questions so far? Okay, right. What is the next requirement here? Whenever I press F4, I need to associate the custom F4L. I need to associate the custom F4L. So what is happening now? When I right click on this execute direct processing, right? I'm having this icon here now, so which indicates that there is some standard F4L attached. I can click on this icon or I can press F4. When I press F4, what is happening? I'm getting the some standard F4L with some tabs here, different tabs are there. If I continue to showing different fields here, make clear. So in each tab, I'm having different columns. Clear? So I'm getting the standard F4L. I don't want the standard F4L, I want to attach my own F4L. So what is the event you have to handle? POV, process on value request, and that POV also should be implemented under PAI only, anywhere after PI. So somewhere here I'll say process on value request for the same field, field v underscore matnr module, okay, associate underscore F4L. You give any name for the module, right? For that field, same field, I'm associating the F4L. So I'll double click on this module. Again, it will show it as PA module only because we implemented under what? PA. So PA module does not exist. Create the object. Yes. I'll choose the top include program. Okay. So here, as of now, let me just give the message. I'll say something hello, type what? Message hello, type okay, save it. Let me check whether this message is triggered or not. Activate this, right? Execute. Right click on the program, execute direct processing. Right, I'll press F4. Earlier I got standard F4 help. Now I have handled that event. I wrote some message. When I say F4, good. What I'm getting here, I am getting my own message. So it is confirmed that our event is getting triggered. Now let us write the logic to associate the actual F4 values. Yeah, any questions before I continue? Okay, one second, please. Okay. So what is the agenda now? I have to show the custom F4 values. So in order to show the custom F4 values, SAP has given one function module. If you go to function builder, we have a function module called as F4 if underscore int underscore table underscore value underscore request. Table underscore value underscore what? Request. This is the function module we have to call to populate F4 values. Am I clear? There's a function module you have to call to populate the F4 values. So anywhere in ABAP, if you get a requirement to populate F4 values, you call this particular function module, right? So where you have to call this function model in this case, under which event? Process on value request. Okay, so let me go to import section. As usual, what you will do, we'll check the signature of the function model. So if you go to import parameters, there are many import parameters. Am I clear? There are many import parameters. All are what? Mandatory, except the second one is what? Sorry, all are optional except the second one. Second one is mandatory. Understood? The optional checkbox is not selected, which indicates it is mandatory. What is that? RET field type device hyphen field name. So device is a structure. In that they are referring to what? Field names. If I double click on this, right? If I double click on this, yes, you can see device is a structure which has got a field called as field name. What is this data type? Character of what? 30. So there is one mandatory import parameter which is expecting a character value. What is the description? Name of what? Return field. Name of return field. So see this, observe this. Export anyway is optional. I can ignore. Changing nothing is the tables. So whatever is there in the tables section, we have to understand that is the internal table. So if I go to tables, yes, you can see here there are 4 internal tables, out of which only one is mandatory. What is this mandatory? Value underscore tab. Table of what? Values. So what are the values you want to show in the FRL? That internal table you have to prepare and pass it to this particular parameter. This is the parameter which will actually hold the F4 values. Table of what? Values. Table of values. Okay. So before calling this function model, I need to prepare this internal table. I need to prepare this particular internal table. So what data I want to show here is, observe this carefully. I want to populate only those materials whose industry is whose industry sector is what? Either 3 or E or T. 3 means what? Service provider. E means energy. T means what? Telecommunication. So if you go to Mara table, observe this carefully. If you go to Mara table, from this table only all the material numbers are shown. Am I clear? So if you go to content, there is a field called as industry sector. What is this? MBRSH. What is this MBRSH? Character of what? 1. If I go to contents, how many materials are there? Around 21,000. Suppose I'll try to filter based on industry sector. Industry sector means what? What is the name of the field? MBRSH. If I go to contents, here we have MBRSH. Na? So we have different industry sectors here. If I choose 3 indicates what? Service provider. Na? How many entries are there? 495 entries are there. Okay, so what are the values I want to show? Service provider, energy, and what? Telecommunication. Okay, energy, how many are there? Yeah, energy is not defined here. Okay, so I'll not go. Telecommunication also not there. So I'll do one thing. I'll take, let me take 2. 2 is what here? Aerospace and divider. So we have 163 entries. I'll take this 2. Okay, and I'll take beverage B 41. Okay, so I want to show only these 2 materials. I want to show only these 2 industry sectors. 2 is what? Aerospace. 3 is what? Beverage. So what is that I want here? I'll just change it. So I want to show only those materials whose material type is either what? 2 or what? B. Either 2, sorry, either 2 or B. So here I'll say, what happened? 2 or what? B. Okay. So what is this 2 indicates here? Aerospace itself. B indicates what? Beverage. So I want to show only those materials which are what? Whose industry sector is either 2. 2 indicates what here? Aerospace in this case. And what else? B indicates what? Beverage. Only those materials I want to show which satisfy this particular industry. Okay. So if you take the standard FRL petition, too many tabs, too many columns, no? So I don't want that. So that is the reason. So I need to prepare this internal table now. Let me declare the internal table. So somewhere in the top include program, right? I'll declare the internal table with the required fields. Okay. So I want to show only material number and industry sector. That's all. So types begin of some structure I'll declare. What are the fields I want to show? Material number type Mara hyphen material number. Understood? And I want to show that industry MBRSH type Mara hyphen what? Yes, MBRSH closes end of what? TY underscore F4 values. Okay. Now I'll say data T underscore F4 values type what? Table of TY underscore F4 values. So I declared what? An internal table. Understood? I declare internal table. Why I declare internal table? Because to this function model, I have to pass the internal table only. Na? Whatever is there in the tables, I told you have to understand that as what? Internal table. So there are two mandatory parameters. One is the internal table, another is under import section. What is this? Return field. Okay? Return field. So my internal table contains two fields. Which field you have to return? Material number only. Na? Because you are providing the FRL for material number. So what I'll do now? Yeah, I'll activate this one. So I'll go back to the flow logic. What is the event triggered when I press F4? POV only. Na? So in the process and value request under this, yeah, instead of giving this message, first I'll get the data. I'll get the data. Select what are the fields? Material number, MBRSH, from which table? Mara table into what is the internal I declared? T underscore F4 values where MBRSH in what? In what? 2 or what? B. MBRSH is a character field. Am I clear? In the table, MBRSH is a character field. Understood? Character of 2 something is there. Industry sector, MBRSH. What is this? Character of 1. Industry sector. So I have to keep it in single quotes. So I am trying to get only those materials into the internal table, into table. If you are getting multiple records, I have to say into table. Na? Understood? If you are getting a single record, we use select single. We already know that. So select so and so fields from the database table into the internal table. I don't want all the 19,000 records. I want only those records where the industry sector is what? Either aerospace or beverage. So already we know if you're comparing the set of values, you have to use the in operator. Save it, check for the syntax, no errors. How do you check whether the select is successful or not? If size of RC is equal to 0, understood? What is the meaning? Select is successfully executed. What I have to do now? Populate the F4 values. If size of RC is equal to 0, you populate the F4 values. So let me populate. Understood? So where is the data available? In the internal table. How do you populate? Now you have to call that function model. Na? So while calling the function model, import becomes export. Tables will remain what? Tables. And it is having some exceptions. You better handle the exceptions. So I'll just go to pattern. What is the function model? F4 if underscore int underscore table value request. So import becomes export. Yeah, this is a mandatory parameter. Return field. In the internal table, we are showing two fields. Na? We are showing two fields. Which field you have to return? Material number, because we are putting the FRL for what? Material number only. Na? So return field name, I'll give it as this internal table field name MATNR. So return field equal to MATNR. I am telling SAP to return material number. All these are optional. I am removing it. Okay, all are exporting anyway is optional. So I don't want to import. Tables remains tables. What is the internal table? T underscore F4 values. Done. And here I'll handle the exceptions. Okay, so here I'll say, what is this? Case size of RC. Okay, when one, I'm handling the exception. Message I'll say, what? Message I'll say parameter underscore error exception. Parameter underscore error exception. Type what? Information message. When to, I'll just give a message no underscore values found exception, no underscore values underscore found exception. Okay, type what? Information message. When 3. Okay, I'll say unknown exception. Message. What is this? Unknown exception. Type what? I. End for case is what? End case. Save it. Check for the syntax. Done. Understood. So wherever you have the F4 requirement, you always call this particular function model. Before calling this function model, you prepare the necessary data. So I want to populate only those materials whose industry sector is what, either aerospace or beverages. So once the data is available, I'm calling the function model by passing the necessary parameters. Two mandatory parameters which are there, I'm passing it. Done. Activate everything. It is activated. Okay, let's execute and test whether we'll get the F4 values or not. Execute. Right, I'll press F4 now. Good. What happened here? It is raising an exception. No values found exception. No values found exception. So I'll do one thing. I'll try to debug. I'll put double click on this. I'll put the breakpoint here. Just want to check whether the data is coming or not. So when I execute, I cannot directly execute. No? Right click on the program. What is this? Execute direct processing. Okay, I'll give the material. Sorry, I'll press F4 here. When I press F4, what is the event triggered in module pool? POV, process on value request. So in that only I gave field name, module name. That module gets executed. So when I press F4, yes, control is stopping in the debugging. Correctly, it is stopping in the debugging. So see this. This is the internal table T underscore F4. As of now, 0 entries. How many fields are there? 2 fields, material number, industry sector. But as of now, it is blank. Now I'm trying to execute the select query. We are trying to get the data into the internal table. When I say F5, yes, how many entries I got? 204. 204. So we have, if I double click on this, there are some materials which are what? Either aerospace or what? Industry sector. It is coming not 2 or B. Done. So successfully data is available in the internal table. If size of R C equal to 0, yes, select is successfully executed. Na? If size of R C equal to 0, I'm trying to call the function model. So I'll say F8 so that internally the function will get executed. So it is raising what? An exception. Even though data is available, it is still raising the exception what? No values found exception. So what you have to do is, whenever you call this function model anywhere, apart from using these two mandatory parameters, you try to use these parameters also. If you go to function model, in the import section, there are some parameters here, dyne program. What it is actually is optional. It is actually optional. It is expecting what? Current program name. Dyne PNR. It is also optional. It is expecting what? Screen number. Dyne Pro field. Dyne Pro field. It is also optional. What it is expecting? Name of the screen field for value written. Name of the screen field for value written. And okay, so let me try to pass this to Dyne program is what type? It is expecting what? Type scirep ID, expecting the program name. So it is under import, while calling becomes export. Na? So here I'll say dyne program equal to, I'll directly pass what? The current program name. How do you refer to the current program name? Scirep ID is the system field. Understood? Scirep ID. Then what? What is the other parameter? Even though they're optional, I must use it. Dyne PNR. What is this dyne PNR? It is expecting what? Screen number. What is the screen number? In our case, 100. Na? So instead of passing 100, I'll refer to the system field. What? SY which holds what? The current screen number. Clear? Let's see whether it works or not. So these two are optional, but still I'm passing. So let me check, save, check for the syntax, activate. So when I execute this, right, I'll press F4. Still I got the same exception, no values found exception. So I'll do one thing. There is another parameter in this function model, value underscore org. It is also optional. Optional checkbox selected. Optional is what? I need not pass. If it is mandatory, I must pass. If you don't pass, you will get the runtime error. So value underscore org, anyway, I'm not passing. What is the default value? It is taking C, it seems. Internally, it is taking the value as what? C. What is the other possible value? C means cell by cell. S means what? Structure. So either I should pass C or yes. Anyhow, if you don't pass, what is the default value to take? C. Okay, what is the other possibility? Yes, na. I'll try to pass this. This is also under import. So while calling becomes what? Export. So here I'll say value underscore org equal to what is that? What S? Other possibility is what? Yes. So when I execute this, execute direct processing, I'll press F4. Good. It is showing me the 204 entries. It is showing all the materials whose industry sector is either aerospace or what? Beverages. Am I clear? So I'm able to populate the data. Now I'll select one of the material. What is the return field like a material number? Na? Is it coming? No. I'm able to show the values, but the selected value is not getting written. Even though I said what? Return field is what? MATNR. So what I have to do is, there is another field you have to consider, DynPro field. What is this DynPro field? It is also optional. Name of screen field for what? Value return. To which screen field you want to return the value, that you have to mention. I want to return it to the material number. Na? So here I'll say DynPro field equal to, what is that screen field name? V underscore what? MATNR. V underscore MATNR. Understood. So we are telling SAP to return that selected value to which screen field? V underscore MATNR. You have to give it in single quotes in uppercase. Okay, execute this. Right click on the program or first activate. So when I execute, I'll press F4. Yes, it is showing the 204 entries based on the condition. Randomly, I'll select one value. Any column I can select, it will return the material number. Right, I'll just select this one. I got the material number, antenna 1. Okay, so now onwards, remember, wherever you call this function model, these are the minimum 6 parameters you have to pass. Actually, there are only 2 mandatory parameters, but those 2 mandatory parameters will never meet our requirement. Compulsory, you have to pass these other 4 parameters also. DynPro field, DynPNR, DynPNR. Okay, and this value underscore what? Org. Default value is what? C. You have to pass it as what? Yes. Am I clear? So where I called this function model inside which event? POV. Why POV? Because in the dialog programming, whenever we press F4 key in the input field, what is the event triggered? POV. What is the purpose of handling that POV event? To show custom F4 values. So for that field, I defined a module. Okay, I was supposed to call that function model F4 if in table a request. According to the signature, there is one mandatory internal table data we have to prepare. I'm preparing the necessary data and I'm calling that particular function model. Yeah, is it clear? Any questions, please ask. So generally, whenever you are calling any function model, we have to initially you have to pass only the mandatory parameters. If it is working, stop there. If it is not working, try to do R&D by passing data for what other optional parameters. So thumb rule is wherever you have the F4 help, you have to call this function model and remember the 6 parameters. Before calling this function model, we have to prepare the necessary parameters so that I can directly use it. Yeah, any questions? Okay, so requires practice. Practice this part. Tomorrow we'll continue with other example in module 4. So we have seen so far all the 4 events: PBO, PAI, POH, and what? POV. And we have seen some screen elements like text field, in IO field, push button, box, how to design the database fields, how to create the T code for the program, all those things. Right? So I'll wind up then. We'll continue tomorrow. Sure.